Says off.
All right.
Here we are.
This hangout is on air. All right. So, welcome to System.Debug. Tonight, we've got... I need a drum roll. Do you have a drum roll?
I do not have a drum roll queued up. I just have
drum roll, please.
I'm patiently waiting.
We've got new co-host Meighan Brodkey, which there she is.
Hiya.
Hi, Meighan.
How are you?
Welcome to the show. Official
Thank you.
co-host.
And we're going to be talking, of course, about her, I guess, specialty or one of her many talents, communities and social sign-on, or just social sign-on in general.
Yeah, but we're not going to do any of that until I hit this little button here.
Yeah, you got to hit it. So, all right, everybody. Here we go.
For you to talk about.
Brian's not here.
No.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Oh.
We don't have to open with a dad joke. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
He's here, but he's not on camera. He'll be in the
here
chat.
In spirit.
He's in the chat. He's here.
He's here in the chat. He's here in spirit, but not in dad joke spirit.
I think he's gonna be doing dad jokes.
He'll probably He's gonna do dad jokes in the chat, of course.
We'll have to be watching the chat for this. I don't think neither RJ nor I are fast enough with the dad jokes. So.
No, I have none. I have 0 dad jokes in my stash. A lot of other things, some food in my stash most days, but no dad jokes.
All righty. That's
a
dad joke right there. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm stepping back because I know nothing about our topic, but before we do that, can I just say one thing real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Midwest Dreamin' is coming up in July 11th, 12th in Chicago, and I get to speak. I'm so happy. I'll be speaking.
I'm so excited for you.
Yeah.
What's your topic?
My topic is actually closely related to an episode that we did on System.Debug, and it's called Pedantic Antics: Why Choosing a Code Style Can Help Your Code Longevity.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a very opinionated
fancy.
thing. It's a very opinionated thing, but it's poking fun at myself, but it also I think makes a good point. So enough of self-promotion, what do you call it? Self-promotion, not preservation, promotion. The topic tonight is, again, what, RJ?
So social sign-on, right? And that's it's something that I've noticed, and in my time out there trying to help people, I've noticed it's a pain in the butt to do. And people have come up to me when we were doing our help you with your code table at any of the Dreamforces or any of the Southeast Dream-ins that we've been to, any of those things, any of those wonderful events. People come up to the code table and 8 times out of 10, it's, hey, so I'm doing this social sign-on thing, but ... nothing's working at all. It's usually where it lands, right? So, Meighan, can you get us started? Pretend we're both complete idiots. Can you get us started with social sign-on?
Yeah. So first of all, one misconception is the fact that a lot of people think that in Salesforce, SSO includes social sign-on. Even though the acronym says SSO with social sign-on, Salesforce considers them different, and they're set up entirely differently. You don't actually have to have SSO to do social sign-on. So what you're actually doing is you're actually setting up an authenticated provider, something like Twitter, Google, LinkedIn, and then you're actually setting up, quote unquote, an app on their side, and you're connecting the two so that you can sign into either Salesforce or Salesforce Community with your social account. It seems all like it's going to be all easy peasy, but one thing you need to keep in mind is the fact that, the actual, the class that you get when you first set it up, you have to customize that. It's not the same. You don't get to use the class that you get just because you set it up. and you think that it's going to be what you want, you have to customize it. Even though you have the key, you have all the information that you entered, you still have to customize it to match what you're doing. And that's one of the reasons why it doesn't work. I mean, the Salesforce documentation isn't that clear to let you know that you actually have to super customize that afterwards. And, you know, another thing is the fact that you don't want to match on username. Chances are your Salesforce username has nothing to do with your Twitter account. You probably want to make a custom field and match on that. Same thing with your LinkedIn. You know, your business email probably isn't your LinkedIn email. Probably using your personal account.
Yeah.
So having like that separate setup is really important. And another thing to keep in mind is, you know, it doesn't just have to be, you know, your Twitter, your Google, your Facebook, your LinkedIn. You know, you can connect with whatever you want, as long as it has an API and you can set up, you know, an app on that side. You can probably set it up to connect with Salesforce. You know, you can even set up one Salesforce account to connect to another Salesforce account to log in as well.
For real?
Yeah. You can set up Salesforce to log into Salesforce.
Dude, that sounds so dangerous and so very pimp my Salesforce.
Which is why you don't want to use like your username or, you know, things like that, because like you're going to start getting into a mess. Because you're setting up an authenticated provider, and that's what you're using to log in. So whatever you can use for that is what you can use. But yeah, cool. I can tell you it took me a very long time to stop getting errors. And then in the beginning, like it worked the first time, but then it didn't work after. And it was like, why does it only work the one time? Yeah.
So you said there's a class. Are you literally there's like an Apex class that you have to then modify, or where does this Apex class automatically come with any org and you just have to like enable it, unlock it, or is this something you have to go and download, install? How is all of that?
So when you set up the authenticated provider, there's a button that you can press to make, or it's a link. It's not actually a button, it's a link. But it'll make the class for you. And then what happens is you go in and then you modify the self-created class. Or you could create one on your own if you want to. Like that's all up to you, but you know, it's a lot easier to just modify something that Salesforce makes all of the matchy fields for you instead of going in and making all the matchy fields and doing all that matchy data yourself.
Yeah, you're not less of a programmer. Just want to throw this out there. You're not less of a developer. You're not less of a programmer if you let things be auto-generated for you and then just modify them. It doesn't make you less of a human, less of a programmer, less of anything. We all do it. It's great. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Dude, and who's the time?
Yeah, I would argue it makes you a more efficient developer.
So we have one question already, of course. Does using social sign-on require the use of a custom domain?
So I know single sign-on does. Yeah, it does. It does, because I actually went through this with a client today. Yeah, using Facebook and using Twitter does. So yeah, that would mean a social sign-on does. You have to use my domain. Nice.
So that's a good thing to know.
That was a lovely meeting. Yeah. Thank you. You saved my day.
Good.
So let's wrap this around. Let's wrap up the little first part here, right? So you need your custom domain. That's number one. Number two, you probably don't want your username. So probably something more along the lines of email, right? That's probably going to be a little bit more helpful to kind of key
I would say custom field.
Even custom field? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take
your email is probably like your business email, especially if you're using your internal org. That's going to be like your work email.
Okay. So take it from a pro. Custom field is probably the way to go, right? And then basically what you're going to do is you're just going to pick one of these things that you have and probably that a lot of your other users are going to have, right? So if you're the only one that has Twitter, you probably don't want to do social sign-on with Twitter. You probably want to do it with something that everyone who's going to be signing into your org has access to, right? Or has an account on, right?
Yeah. I mean, I imagine everybody's got Facebook. I mean, I imagine you could even tie it to an Amazon account or something like that.
You can. Amazon is one of the authenticated providers with step-by-step instructions on help.salesforce.com.
Boom. Look at that. I just picked that one right out of the air. Credit to you.
Dude, I swear she like memorized the entire manual for social sign-on. I don't know. That sounded like it was written and rewritten like 15 times. That sounded like perfect. Jared Taylor says, even Azure.
Yeah.
But I mean, why would you? Oh, sorry.
Okay,
I don't know.
I'm totally kidding, Jared. I'm totally kidding.
He's like these guys and gals.
And I just realized I'm looking at the wrong screen when I apologize. I should be looking to that one, and I was like,
there you go.
Whatever. People would just think it's the scotch. It's okay.
This is the giggle episode. This is a giggly episode. I don't know why we're all so giggly. Anyway, all right. So we've got that first chunk, right? So now what happens? Like, I'm a user. I'm strolling along, right? I say, oh man, I really need to do social sign-on for my org because everyone uses Facebook, and it's just going to make everything so much easier for them. So I implement social sign-on. I generate this thing. I make my custom field. I go into the Apex. I change it to key off of that custom field. Now what happens?
Now, chances are your first time it probably doesn't work.
Oh, no.
Not going to lie.
You're already killing me.
Oh, and by the way, that class doesn't come with a test class. Just so
I was queuing up that question for it. I was like, does this class require coverage?
Yeah,
oh, sure it does.
You're gonna, of course it does. It's Apex. You're gonna have to write your own test.
Oh man.
Which probably then I assume means you have to have Maka call out and all of that good stuff, right? Because I assume this calls out somewhere, right? Back and forth, or is it? I don't know.
You're gonna have to do your own work. Yeah.
Yeah, fun. So why do I want to do this?
You only need 75% coverage, though. I mean, it's not that bad. Like, look at it that way.
I heard about this trick that you can just do a whole bunch of I++s.
Oh my god.
This is where the System.Debug lawyers come in and go, we do not endorse nor recommend doing such things.
I've just heard it. I mean, I've heard it on the streets, you know. I've heard it here and there.
Have you done this? Like, do we need to have an intervention?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think that when we actually have an intervention left, that might be why he didn't show up to this episode. He may have sensed that. Because I don't know, Brian, you've admitted to me, I know you're out there somewhere in the ethers, but you've admitted to me that you've done that before. Because I felt the pain. It felt like somebody kicked me in a not so fun place when he said that. I was like, Brian, no, not you. That too, Brian.
What's it in the LED lights, Ryan?
LED lights? Yeah.
Those LED lights. Oh, dude. So, yeah. There have been places that I've been at in my previous lives that have done that before. Yeah. It wasn't me. I've seen it, and I've been disgusted by it. But anyway.
Okay.
We can cover that in another one. But anyway, so you write this test class, right? And all your stuff is good. You're tested. You're over 75%. Everything's lovely, right?
Right.
So the first time it's not going to work. What's usually the issue now? What's the first thing that you always look at, I guess? Like when you're thinking about it, you're like, all right, here's the first thing I'm going to look at. Boom.
So usually it's either you're not matching right or you don't have that whole client ID key thing set up properly.
Gotcha.
With your authenticator provider. Yeah, usually that's wrong. So going back and double checking that. Also making sure that whole like auth and callback URL are correct is really important. Even like a little typo there means it's entirely wrong.
Oh yeah, I imagine so.
Like it's kind of important. Like kind of important. Like
kind of
important. Also making sure like that at, putting like at, Life with Ryan versus Life with Ryan and making sure you match those properly. That makes a difference too. So just making sure that you're pulling that properly.
Gotcha. All right, so let's keep going, right? So now I've got everything set up, and I finally figured out all my bugs because you helped me, Megan. You walked me through this tutorial, and I messed it up 18 times, but you fixed all my little bugs. And I wrote really
you did it
perfect test cases.
less times than me. Wow. Okay.
It only took you 18.
Only 18 tries. Oh no, I had you help me, so you already knew what was going on. I wrote my test case.
I learned from my mistakes. Okay.
Yeah, we're over 75% coverage, and now I'm logged in. So now what's the magic here? What can I do, and how do I set up other users and roles and things like that? Do I do it the normal way? Is there some kind of special stuff that I need to do?
Yeah, so I mean, like with the community. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the community thing.
That's fair.
All right, not sure if everybody knows. Community is kind of my thing. But yeah, so as a community user, you can actually register with your social login. So I don't know how many people out there use Trailhead. I'm guessing hopefully everybody. Okay, 300 bajillion badges, right? Everybody. Right? Everybody's going for okay.
I'm still trying to break 100. But yeah.
Oh no!
Oh God, Ryan, we gotta get you to Ranger.
I know. I'm not looking for.
I'm gonna harass you every day until you're there now. Now that I know. Okay. Expect a bajillion texts today.
Sounds good.
But anyway, so
Jared says he's heard of Trailhead.
I'm so glad. So glad. I know that you're on your way to Ranger if you're not a Ranger already. I thought you got to Ranger with all your Eagle badges. I think you did. I think there's a whole Twitter thing about it. But anyway.
I have to Google it now. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, back to the story.
Community.
So anyway, what were we talking about?
Community.
Communities. Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
So community users, you can actually register with your social login. So you can set up self-registration with the community, and you can make it so that when you're actually signing up for your community, your Google account, your Facebook account, your LinkedIn account, your whatever account, when you do that whole quote-unquote self-registration, which is, I'm not saying that I endorse the out-of-the-box self-registration for communities in any way, shape, or form. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's possible that you can self-register with your social account. Because I really don't like that it puts you either into this one big giant account. I don't like it. I don't like it. Or it puts you into a person account. Or you have to go entirely code.
The person accounts thing.
It creeps me out. It's so creepy. But yeah. Anyway, so you can use your social account to sign up. And then you are then thereby forever tied to your social account to sign in. Or you can use your login that you then get assigned because you now have, a username and password that are assigned to your user as well. Because it's Salesforce and you have to have a username.
So you get both is what you're saying. You get your social and then you get a whole fresh user and password. Wow. Okay.
And so that, that whole magical class that gets set up when you set up the whole authenticated provider.
Mm-hmm.
So that class also includes the way that you're going to be setting up the usernames for people that register with social sign-on, which, by the way, out of the box, it tells you to do something weird like the name of your community at the end of an email address, so that you have a suffix just in case they use their email address somewhere else.
Oh,
yeah. So that way you never run into that whole error. You can't log in because you've already used this email somewhere or that username somewhere. Yep. By having that that suffix at the end, it's now you've avoided that forever and ever.
Very good.
Fingers crossed, hopefully, that nobody else has used it as well.
That's a really good tip, actually. So
I was gonna ask you. I was gonna say, once you've logged in and you've got this one set up, what happens if you never use this, or stop using this, and then try to start another one up and have the same email? But you've answered that question, so it's good to know. It's good to know that you can get out there and you can say, all right, I'm gonna start this social sign-on with my Twitter. Everything's good. It uses the email plus some little chunk on the end, whatever it is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now I can go and I can use that Twitter to do another social sign-on because I hate that old org and I'm out of it and I'm gone. Yeah, so it's good to know that you can do that. It's really good to know that you can use that and rip it and put it somewhere else.
And keep in mind, if you're if you're working with a company and you're like one of their customers that has, you know, a login to one of their orgs, and they happen to have like 3 different communities, as long as the profile that they have assigned your user has access to all of those communities, you can use that same login in all of those communities. Like, you don't have to get a new user for every single one.
That's a bonus.
Right? So, like, it's not like you're sitting there trying to come up with a new user for every single one and having to be like, so this is my, you know, Meighan at, you know, gmail.com.dev, Meighan at gmail.com.customer, Meighan at gmail.com.partner. You know, if your profile is assigned to everything, you know, you have that one user that can log into every community.
Dude, I honestly did not know that either. See, this is so cool that we've got a communities expert here, so I love that.
Dude, that's why we were all about this. We were like, dude, we got to get Meighan on here.
Yeah.
She's going to be our communities expert forever.
I just thought it was for my award-winning personality.
That too. It's definitely it's definitely a twofold sort of situation. Okay. So, all right, now. So how do we do roles now? Does it work just since everything else kind of works almost like a regular account, right? Do the roles and everything work like a regular account, or how do we go about all that kind of stuff?
Like the roles assigned to the user?
Yeah. So like let's say you start a community, right?
Yeah.
And we do or not single sign-on, social sign-on.
There you go.
You add me and Ryan.
Yeah.
And we're both essentially like sysadmins, but you hate me because I'm a jerk, and you're like, we got to get this guy out of here, but we still need him to be part of the community because he's he draws all the jerks in.
Now, are you an internal user or are you an external user?
Oh man, you're killing me because I don't know.
Yeah, go from the. I think where I thought you were going anyway was like, you know how in a community you can have your users with elevated privileges. They can moderate, they can flag, et cetera, et cetera.
So
are those internal or external users? I don't know.
So they can be both. Yeah, so that's the thing. So when this whole magical class that gets set up, you get a lot of hand things. Like, I'm just noticing this in the corner. I'm like, God, on like Arrested Development. Wow, it's an illusion. Anyways, but yeah. So the thing is, this class, it actually has, you know, the concept of setting up your internal users and setting up your external users. And your internal users, you know, they get assigned one profile, and that's what they get assigned. And then from there, you know, you have to go through and decide what they're going to be. Because you really don't know what they are because they're just signing up. Like, you have nothing to distinguish who they are because all you have is a social identity. And then with your community users, the same thing. You know, they usually just get set with one identity. You can just set them up based on, you know, if you have a community that's like customers and partners, and your partners have, you know, specific emails. You know, you could set it up to actually like, for a, you know, like a custom metadata type, you know, or a custom setting or something of the such, to be like, if any of these domains, then automatically make them, you know, this license instead, make them a partner instead of customer. And then that way we can make sure that they get this type of permission. But you wouldn't know whether to make them like a partner manager or just a partner user without actually figuring out which partner are they.
Which one they are. Yeah, I got you.
So you want to assign them to just my recommendation is assign them to the lowest permission possible. Because the last thing you want to do is give out too much access.
Yeah.
And then once you know who they are, then start extending privileges from there. It's like when you build a community, keep it simple and then start granting access as needed.
Gotcha. That's actually a really good, because I would, in my mind, I guess, I'm thinking, oh, that's really neat, right? So if I'm building a community for company XYZ and they have all these users that are coming in because it's a little community for them to go kind of like troubleshoot stuff, right? Anyone with a @xyz.com email should be elevated privileges, right? And that's what I was thinking in my head while you were saying it. But now you're right. Maybe they shouldn't. Maybe everyone should just be a user. And then when someone with an XYZ comes in, you say, all right, well, who is this person actually?
Right.
Oh, this is the CEO. Okay. Well, you know what? He can have, or she can have a little bit more privileges. Maybe they get admin or something, right? Oh, this is a tech person. Okay, they get sysadmin.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, that's fair too, because you don't want to give everybody admin. That would just be devastating.
It'd be like my very first org when I became an admin. 154 users and 154 sysadmins.
What?
Everybody can see it. We're done.
An admin. It was amazing.
Oh my goodness.
That
sounds so dangerous.
It was such a crazy org.
Oh goodness.
You get data.
Well, we're out of fields. Let's just delete this field and make a new one because it's the one we want to have instead.
Yeah. Great.
Oh no. Oh, the chaos.
We're gonna have to have a special episode just for that kind of stuff.
Just on that, we do need to have a big no-nos episode. Oh my goodness,
Salesforce
we haven't had one.
Oh,
that's
write
terrifying.
that down.
Yeah.
Salesforce no-nos.
Salesforce no-nos. BJ, write it down.
So I actually have a question about this though. So, whenever you integrate apps with things like Twitter and Facebook, you can always go to security to see what apps have this information, etc.
Yeah.
Can I, if I've done this with Salesforce, go to say into Twitter and say, okay, revoke the access now?
Yes, you can.
My end, so I can initiate that too. I can be like, no,
yeah.
Okay.
And then you've got, so what happens? So when you, I'm sure you've done this. So when you log into something with Twitter, and it says, hey, do you want to allow Twitter to grant to access to this? And you have to hit that authorize button, and it says yes or no.
Yep.
So if you take access away on the Twitter side, the next time you try to log in with Salesforce, you just get that pop-up again that says, hey, do you want to allow Twitter access to this? Yes or no?
Oh, okay. So
it's just a reauthorization.
Okay, so it won't be like this ugly error like, oh,
Nope.
I don't know who you are or anything like that. It's just,
Nope, tested that one.
Yeah. That's good to know, because that's one thing I always check is because, if I go into my Twitter right now, there are so many silly things that I just go back and revoke access. Like
I have like 400 or something in there. Like, I don't even know what some of them are. It's like, I just randomly go in and delete, but there are just too many for me to hit delete like all day.
Yeah, so that was my worry, is somebody going through and their house cleaning, and then all of a sudden they've shut off access to this community that perhaps they really want and need. But if it just asks for reauth, I mean, that's pretty cool. I like that.
And it's that standard like Salesforce like authorization screen, where you go to log in and you get that box in the middle, and it has like you get to decide what the logo is, and it's got the picture of Twitter, and it's like, do you want to grant Twitter access to Salesforce? Yes or no? And you have the two buttons, and it's got the little blurb in the middle.
That's the voice that's gonna go in my head now. Every time I see that box. Do you want to get? That's a good voice, man.
I mean, that's the voice I picture when I read it. Sorry. Now you're
I've never
stuck
pictured the voice. Now I'm stuck.
Really?
Yeah, no, dude. I look at it. I'm like, yeah, I look at it. I'm like, ugh, this again.
Oh, dude, I'm so sorry. Like, your life needs like some more glitter.
Spice. Yeah, I need spice and glitter in my life.
Okay, that works too.
Spice and glitter. Spice Girls. That covers both.
I think y'all have lost me. It's a good thing that there's just 1 minute left. I can keep up with you.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah, dude.
How fast that goes. So that was your first episode, Megan. See how fast it went?
Okay. That went too fast.
Yeah, so what did we
miss?
miss?
The whole chat part.
What did we what didn't we cover?
I don't know, but I didn't even get to talk on chat yet.
No. See, once you're on camera, you rarely get to do that. That's fine.
Yeah,
RJ did it.
Covers the chat. Yeah, we usually cover. One of us covers the chat.
I have a little bit of a reach to get to my other window here, but
that's fine.
But yeah, I try to say things.
I'm like 5'1", like everything's a reach. So.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah. Very good. So yeah, I don't know if we have any other community questions. Jarrett just says that flew by, and indeed it did. That was fast, but that's what happens when you're having fun. So I'm just trying to think. I don't think there's any other questions around. I don't have any. It looks like RJ's pretty satiated there. You have any more questions?
Is that what you would call me?
Yeah, I think you're satisfied
by this conversation. He's satiated by this conversation. I I don't know, dude, because my hardest part was always getting the I didn't know that you needed to modify that Apex in the beginning.
Yeah.
So just knowing
Totally
just having the knowledge. Yeah, having the knowledge that you have to actually go in there and you can't just click the stupid button and get it to generate for you. You have to go in there and customize it. That's a massive jump from where I was when I first tried to do it. Because they were like, I forget what it was. Oh, that's what it was. So real quick, right? The first time I ever tried to debug an issue with social sign-on, this lady came up to me and she said, "Hey, I'm trying to get my Facebook social sign-on to work. But guess what? It's not working. It won't connect the correct users with their accounts. So account over here, A, on Facebook, wouldn't attach to the account over here, but they had it working earlier. So now she was confused. She's like, I don't understand. Apparently, somewhere in there are some fields that you can get from Facebook, right? So Facebook will allow you to cherry pick certain fields and use those. And the email field was no longer one of the defaults. So there were like 3 or 4 defaults, and email used to be the 5th default, and maybe there were a couple more, but they had taken that out of their API. They were like, nobody ever uses the email for whatever reason. So they threw that off of their API, and now you had to go physically type in the URL, you had to say, hey, I also want email too. And that was the field that they were communicating or checking on, connecting on, basically. So I'm like looking around. I have no idea what the heck is going on. And she's like, this is over here, and this is over here, and this is over here. Here's the Apex, blah, blah, blah. So it turns out all we had to do was go in there to the Apex and mess with the URL just a teeny bit, just a teeny tiny bit, and just put comma, email. Boom. That was it. So thankfully, it took us like 2 hours to get that. Thankfully, it actually wasn't a real problem, but you know, it's one of those things where like if you don't even know that the Apex is there and that it's customizable, like that's 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours you could waste easy.
Oh, for sure.
So the LinkedIn one is weird. So like what you're asking for in the URL and then what you're asking for in the variables, like they're different, but they're the same because the way that you're asking for them is different. Like you're asking for the profile in the URL, but you're asking for the actual variables that are in the profile in the variables part.
Profile dot something.
No, you're asking for like profile, but then you're asking for like email, name, phone number. And it's like, what?
So the profile object itself has all those fields on it.
Yeah.
But you don't see that. I get you.
Yeah. And so it's just like they're in 2 different places, but it's like it took me forever to figure out the LinkedIn one. LinkedIn is a really funky one. And the thing is, like on the LinkedIn side, you only see the basic profile checkbox, the email checkbox, and then like the company checkbox. Yeah. And then you don't know what you have to call out on the Salesforce side unless you actually go through. And it took me like 6 different tries with the dev documentation and like a bunch of different hours to figure out which one I was supposed to be looking at to find out, I needed to look in this one table on this one document to figure out where all this stuff was. And that's where I find all the little it's
hidden.
The little like wavy sign, like the tilde thing, except in front of stuff. And then the at and then the word. Yeah.
Man, that does seem kind of weird.
Right?
But hey, here's the thing. We've got an expert now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got an expert. And now the internet has an expert. The entire internet. Well, they already had you, but you're always there. But now you hang out with us more often. And now we're going to be like, hey, I don't know that. Ask Megan.
Okay, I was always hanging out with you. I'm just like on the show now. It's like the only difference.
I like it better.
It's like I'm hanging out with you publicly.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Because we're not.
You're willing to go out with me in public, is the way it is.
Yeah, we're not embarrassed to you anymore.
Nope.
There it is.
And we will like and subscribe to you, just like we want you to like and subscribe to the show.
Yes.
And yeah, you see, I'm trying to reel it in here. It's like
reel it in. So yes, everyone, please like and subscribe. Right. And so let's do the roundtable. Right. That's Meighan Brodkey at. What's your Twitter handle?
What's your Twitter handle?
It's Meighan SF.
Meighan SF. Okay.
And don't
And
forget,
then-
there's like an I in there. It's Meighan.
Oh yeah,
Correct.
Spell
Yeah.
the name right.
Yeah, I always
spell the
I
name
before
right.
E and all that. I always mess that up because it's
Yep.
wrong.
That doesn't work for names.
It does.
It does.
I know
Does it?
Einstein screwed it up twice, and he was supposed to be like the smartest person in the world. So
And we also have Ryan
at
at
Life with Ryan.
Life with Ryan. Me, I'm RJ at the infamous RJ on Twitter. Brian is not here, so whatever. He's US Brian 28 on Twitter. So get at us if you have any questions about communities, if you have any questions about social sign-on. We're just going to forward all that to Megan.
Yeah.
So that's it for today. Next time, maybe we'll talk about the Salesforce no-nos. I'm not sure which one we're going to do yet. If you have any sort of opinion on what we should do next, hit us up. System.debug@gmail.com. On any of those Twitters, we're at system.debug on Twitter as well. So just hit us up and let us know what you guys want to hear about next time on system.debug. And anybody else got anything? No?
I think we're looking good. I'm just gonna bump us out of here, man.
Nice. Let's do the bump.
Awesome.
Bump.